I don't play Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games. I have, however, always been interested in all of the arcade races that hit them, and the Nintendo Switch has a lot. You know what it also has? A lot of blurry 30 frames per second racing ports and a crap ton of shovelware. Well, don't fret, I'm here to give you a bunch of Nintendo Switch arcade racing recommendations. I've curated a list of races perfectly suited to the Nintendo Switch. No analog triggers for gas and brake? No problems, there's a solution right there under your nose. If the game has the option, I choose to use the right stick for gas and brake. Push up to accelerate and push down briefly to brake. This gives you the granular control needed for ideal play. It's how we used to do it back in the days of the PS2, and if you can acclimate to it, it'll change your tune on racing games on the Switch. But enough of that, let's get on with it. Cruis'n Blast is an excellent home port of the Raw Thrills arcade game handled by Raw Thrills themselves. One of the most bombastic arcade races you're likely to experience, Cruis'n Blast on Switch adds more tracks, changes up the car roster a bit, and fleshes out the arcade racing experience with additional play modes and unlockables. Performance issues exist in the form of frame rate dips, but it's nothing that ruins the game. I think it's simply a must-have. Fast RMX is a fantastic F-Zero style racer with its own identity and weightier handling. Fast isn't in the name just for the sake of it, the game flies. Lots of ships and tracks to unlock, but be aware of the difficulty level. The combination of speed, Ikaruga style polarity switching and high skill ceiling mean it's a little too much for me personally, but this tarted up port of a Wii U classic is undoubtedly a great game. Horizon Chase Turbo is an arcade racer that first and foremost takes inspiration from the classic Top Gear series. This is raster style racing done right. It's fast, fluid, and has so much content it's hard to know where to begin, although this comes in the form of DLC, so something to be mindful of. Control is tight and the unique visual presentation sets it apart. There's clear nods to Outrun here too, so if you haven't got it already, it's an absolute must-buy. Rise Race the Future is an utterly unique, futuristic rally game with deep controls, amazing aesthetics, and a lot of content to work through. This Nintendo Switch version here received all the love too, and boasts better control options, improved rendering, even over the PC original, and a super smooth 60 frames per second performance mode. Rise is a gem you really can't miss out on. Virtual racing needs absolutely no introduction on a channel like ARC. It's a pioneering, stone-cold classic that has aged like fine wine. The flat-shaded polygon aesthetic is timeless, and it plays just as well as the day it came out. It's also one of those games that proves all you need is a car and 3 courses, and you're in for a lifetime of replay. There's no underselling how perfect the 3 courses, Big Forest, Bay Bridge, and Acropolis are. They also lay the template for what makes up learning a track in an arcade racing game fun, engaging, and a lifelong pursuit. A few iconic set pieces that punctuate key turns on a track make all the difference when it comes to course memorization. It all adds a bit of drama, spectacle, and rhythm. Superb stuff. What a great thing it is then that the SEGA Ages Switch port by the masters at M2 is the ultimate version of the arcade game. Twice the frames, a massive bump in resolution, and up to 8-player local split screen make this the definitive port of the original. There's right stick analog play here, so no need to sacrifice the perfect analog control of the original either. And included is an additional mode here called Helper, which lets you turn off the collision with the AI drivers so you can really dive in and perfect your lines. I've got to admit, it drives me a little bit crazy every time I see this game out there on YouTube being shown off in its overblown, super bright form. Not long after the launch of the game, M2 patched it with a gamma fix. Simply hold LR and ZR during the attract mode and a slider pops up on the left. Adjust the slider to where you feel it should be. It should look punchy and colourful. Regularly on sale, virtual racing is nigh on perfect. If you want to jump into old school arcade racing for the first time and see what it's all about, or if you just want to replay a true blue classic that's revered for a reason, virtual racing has you covered. Yet another port of an iconic and influential arcade racer, this Arcade Archives release of Ridge Racer is excellent. This is the original arcade game in all of its glory, with options to play multiple Japanese and Western releases of the game. If you're not familiar with Ridge Racer, it features one course, but with 3 different variations. And for what seems a meager amount of content, Ridge Racer can really dig its claws into you, just as virtual racing can, and have you playing for hours if you're the type to dig in, master a track, and chase your best times. Ridge Racer has its own vibe, and I love it. The combination of colourful graphics, Ridge Racer techno, and that iconic drifting is intoxicating. The latter 2 courses feature stunning times of day changes that happen in real time. I can't get enough of those blue skies turning sunset neon. When it comes to controls, racing is a tale of 2 halves. You're either driving and navigating, or you're tapping that brake to initiate an on-rails drift through the game's many stronger turns. It works, it's satisfying, and it contains nuance, so you won't be mastering anything in a hurry. The only criticisms I can level at this particular release are twofold. The first is that I can find no way to map the R-stick gas and brake on the OG Switch. I've read conflicting reports that you can on the Switch 2 version, but I can't confirm it myself. In all honesty though, Ridge Racer has you going flat out 99% of the time, so I personally don't miss it, with only getting that perfect start at the beginning of a race left slightly cumbersome. The second issue is that out of the box, the sensitivity is just too high. Go into the options, into steering sensitivity, and set the maximum angle of handle to 180 degrees. I found this setting perfect, but depending on your controller, you may want to play around with it a bit. Otherwise, Ridge Racer is 100% worth it, and arcade racing royalty. While you're at it, check out Aqua, another superlative Arcade Archives release. It's basically Ridge Racer, but on water. I've covered it in the first installment of my Water Racers video, the link to which should be on your screen now. Gotcha Racing Second is one of my personal favourite races on the Switch, and I go back to it every now and again when I'm feeling that itch. It's a sequel to a 3DS racer that I've never played, but nevertheless, it's an excellent one that you can jump into straight away. The ace up its sleeve are the gacha mechanics. Win races to earn cash. Use that cash on the gacha machines to get cars, parts, and occasional rare items. You can also fuse items you've collected together to increase their stats. Not every fusion will be successful, but it's really satisfying when you stumble across a great combo that works. I should mention that all cash is in-game dollars. There's no spending real bucks on dirty microtransactions in this one. Cars come in all shapes and sizes, with their own stats and special abilities. These special abilities vary and can range from boosts to cruise control, and all incur some kind of penalty once the ability wears off. On top of the gacha and fusion mechanics, this adds a layer of customization and injects some strategy into a game that could easily have been rather shallow and one note. And Gotcha Racing Second is anything but. All you've got to worry about is your gas, brake, drift, steering, and your special ability. It's suitably retro, but not without nuance. Tackling hairpins with the drift takes some skill to pull off, and certain tracks contain a variety of race surfaces which can slow you down. Your choice of car, tyres, and special abilities come into play here, as you can easily be overtaken by cars better suited to the terrain than you. The presentation in the game is simple, but smooth and colourful. The tracks are 3D, with stunning painterly textures applied to them, and although the cars are as basic as you can get, they're kind of adorable. With 16 tracks and around 700 parts to build your ultimate race machine from, Gotcha Racing Second is an excellent racer that does things a bit different, and if you give it the time and can handle a few difficulty spikes, you might just fall head over heels for its particular brand of arcade racing. Super Knight Riders wears its inspiration on its sleeve. It's a really cute take on Sega's Super Hang-On, and what a neat little gem it is too. You'll be working your way through 6 courses made up of 6 stages in that sweet cannonball run style that we all love. Each stage is around 30 seconds long and easy enough to get through. Should you bump into any of the other riders, you'll come to a halt and lose some of that precious time off the clock, reducing your chance of making it to the next checkpoint. Learn these well, because once you've done that, there's a 36 stage mode where you'll run every single stage from beginning to end, and this is where the true challenge lies. I haven't managed to make it to the end just yet, but I've gotten close enough that if I could just manage a few less rider collisions, I'm sure I'll eventually get it. Super Knight Riders isn't the prettiest game in the world, but it looks good enough. It's easy to read, it's nice and colourful, and the performance mode gives you that smooth 60 frames per second arcade racing experience you're looking for. Skip the 30 frames per second quality mode. A few reflections and post-processing effects aren't worth losing frames over. There's also a retro mode that gives you flat shaded polygons. A bit more variety in the stage themes and less repetition in the trackside scenery would have been great, but I know there's a sequel in the works, so here's hoping it improves on that front. The music selection is also divine, with tunes that perfectly capture the hang-on style vibes. What really gets me with Super Knight Riders is the absolutely bang-on controls. It features tight analog steering, although there's no analog gas and brake here. Being a retro throwback, I'm totally cool with it, and not once did I feel the need for it. I also didn't feel the need to brake much at all either, and found that simply letting off the gas was enough to get me around corners and help dodge those pesky rival racers. Super Knight Riders is a top Superscaler-esque racer that you absolutely have to have in your collection. Perfect for short bursts of play, leaderboard chasing, and longer play sessions, it'll get its hooks into you guaranteed. This enhanced port of 1999's Star Wars Episode 1 Racer plays even better than the day it was released, and is one of my favourite races on the Switch bar none. If you're after a meaty anti-gravity racing experience, then look no further. You don't need nostalgia goggles to enjoy Episode 1 Racer today. The lengthy championship mode contains many events. 21 long tracks set across 8 planets with your choice of 25 different pod races. Winning races will give you truggets that you can spend on the incredibly in-depth upgrade system. Buy new parts, trade in your old ones, or choose the cheaper junk parts that you can repair. It's up to you. Each purchase will improve your stats, but don't make hasty purchasing decisions. Parts are still relatively pricey no matter what, so pay close attention in races to the areas you feel like your pod is lacking and focus on your weak spots. The thing I love about Episode 1 Racer is the actual feel of the racing. The super tight controls stand apart from stuff like F-Zero and Wipeout, and a comparison to either is ill-advised, because it's not a lot like either. For one, the tracks here are long and complex, with multiple routes, hazards, terrain changes, and shortcuts aplenty that don't reveal themselves upon first play. And the control you have over your pod is perfectly tuned to tackle anything the tracks throw at you. Seriously, it has one of the best control schemes out there. Perfectly pick up and play with layers of complexity that prevent the game from being just a hold down the gas and go type of experience. The killer presentation is the icing on the cake. I still find the game incredibly gorgeous, and the reverence and prevalence of the low poly aesthetic over the years only helps Episode 1 Racer look timeless rather than dated. You may feel differently, but playing this at an unwavering 60 frames per second in both handheld and dock mode, with all that chunky scenery, volumetric fog and coloured lighting, it's stunning. The audio is amazing too, featuring dynamic cuts from the actual score from Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, and authentic sounds from your pod lifted directly from the movie. In my eyes, Episode 1 Racer is a perfect game, and I don't even like Star Wars, except for The Phantom Menace. I'm weird like that. Blaze Rush is a game that I have seen over the years, but for whatever reason I've never got around to playing. It was suggested in another video, and I wasn't going to include it here because I've only just started playing it, but man, do I need to just mention it or what? You guys are helping me discover hidden gems too, so thank you. What we've got here is a post-apocalyptic isometric racer with shades of rock and roll racing. There's a definite emphasis on multiplayer in Blaze Rush, but I'm personally finding the game ridiculous fun in just single player. Events take place on courses with 4 other racers, and pickups fall from the sky, and it's up to you to try and pick them up amidst the chaos. Each race can have different rules, from standard races to ones where you have to maintain a lead and avoid being steamrolled. There's a lot of variety here. Controls are excellent. You push the left stick in the direction you want to go and that's it. A button for nitro and another for your weapons and you're good to go. It looks a little clumsy and it can be, but the physics here are deliberate and I can see it being a bunch of fun with mates. The game is also gorgeous, with smooth frame rates, fantastic detail, and even a couple of instances of slowdown in the super hectic moments can't bring it down. Blaze Rush is awesome, and I'm looking forward to diving in more.
3, 2, 1, go! 5 right, 40.
Rush Rally 3 is on the more serious side of things. Surprising, since it has its origins on mobile devices. It is without the bombast and spectacle of a lot of the games on this list, and falls more onto the simcade side of the spectrum, but don't let that put you off. This Colin McRae style rally racer remains 100% accessible to any arcade racing fan who can handle something a little more grounded. I've covered the game in another recent video here, link on your screen now. But all you need to know is that Rush Rally 3 is a fast, smooth and impressive rally racer developed by a one-man team and is hands down the best rally game you can play on the Nintendo Switch. Heaps of content, fantastic track design and a killer roster of well-modelled cars with lots of upgrades to work toward make up for the fact that the trackside scenery looks rather plain. Oddly enough, for the original Switch, there's even graphics options where you can choose your resolution and dial in settings to get the perfect 60 frames per second experience you're after, although it's damn good out of the box as it is. But you're not playing Rush Rally 3 for the graphics, this one is all about the gameplay. The driving and drifting here are perfect. Brown Monster Games nailed the feel, and with R-Stick gas and brake, I have no complaints. The audio and pace notes are bang on too, and it's so easy to disappear into the game during a race. A million different play modes are there for you, so you won't be finishing this one in a hurry. Rush Rally 3 is amazing.
Over jump, 60, hairpin left, 100.
Rush Rally Origins is a slightly more arcade take on the Rush Rally 3 formula, but from an overhead perspective. Upgrades are simplified and cars unlock by playing rather than winning cash. Graphically, it is also not outstanding, but with drifting that feels this good, it really doesn't matter. It feels slightly more forgiving than Rush Rally 3, and that's no bad thing in my books. And when it comes to the tracks, they all play superbly. What's surprising is that all the courses are 100% procedurally generated. I'm telling you, you'd never know that was the case. It does mean a little bit of loading pre-race, but it's nothing too crazy. I'm only getting into Rush Rally Origins properly myself, but it's instantly recognisable as a quality Rush Rally experience from the off. And now for a really nice change of pace. Another game with mobile origins, Off the Road Unleashed is the ultimate premium version of a successful game series with all of the microtransaction garbage ripped out. What remains is one of my go-to chill driving experiences on the Switch, and you really have to try it out for yourself. The game contains 5 large maps, and each map features a metric ton of collectible gears, which is the currency, other vehicles to find, events to discover, and mountains to climb, with a super simplified arcade take on the winch mechanics you'd find in stuff like Spin Tires, Mud Runner, and Snow Runner. They're the type of game I absolutely cannot get along with, but the way it's implemented in Off the Road Unleashed isn't overbearing and not always required. There's just so much stuff to do and discover here, and it's all done at your own pace. Each map is massive, and you can see the gear collectibles a mile off. They beckon you to explore every direction, and the things you'll discover along the way make it all worth it. For instance, dotted all around the map are garages. These are your starting points, and here you'll be able to select your cars, repair and refuel them, grab a trailer to do some hauling, and much, much more. The game contains a first-person out-of-the-car mode where you can explore certain areas you can't get to by car. You'll also find something of worth in these sections, but by and large, you'll be driving around the maps for the vast majority of your playtime. Controls are weighty but forgiving, and each vehicle handles differently. Some are also better suited to certain tasks over the others. Experimenting with and customizing the look of your vehicles is a lot of fun too. Now, I can't show you everything in the game, but working my way through each map is one of the most chill and rewarding experiences I've had on the Nintendo Switch. It's also a really great game to just mute the average music that features, chuck on a podcast or a killer playlist and tune out to. A smooth 60 frames per second docked helps a lot, but note that handheld play is limited to 30 frames per second. We all benefit from having games like Off the Road Unleashed in our libraries. Pick it up for something slightly different. It's a total hidden gem that I really can't recommend enough. If you're browsing the eShop, the following games may catch your eye. The games here range from okay to fundamentally flawed, not ported well, and then some are just downright bad. Here's some games that should give you pause before you hit the purchase button. Perhaps the most disappointing arcade release of 2025. I pre-ordered Fast and Furious Arcade Edition twice in a show of support, and I regret every single dollar I spent. I'm warning you now, don't go into this Raw Thrills arcade to home port expecting another quality experience like Cruis'n Blast. It simply cannot compete. It's technically atrocious. The adaptation of control from arcade to gamepad is abhorrent, and it's not received any fixes since being sent out to die. I did a small video on it, link on your screen now. A single dev indie racer I really want to love, but it makes it so hard. Technically proficient and definitely not unplayable out of the box, Old School Rally could have been great were it not the fact that it just won't let you drift. A rally game without the long, sustained power slides misses the point. Definitely try out the demo if you're curious, but I think the love for this one may be a classic case of a starving crowd latching on and taking retro aesthetics over pure, unadulterated gameplay. A shame, and I'd love to see this improved at some point. The sequel to Horizon Chase Turbo, Horizon Chase 2 is even better than the first in almost every single way, just not on the original Switch. It's a great game that isn't done justice on the Switch, but play it you must, so play it elsewhere. Hotshot Racing has its fans, but like I've said before, I'm definitely not one of them. Amazing control, a bunch of character and pitch-perfect retro-style graphics don't mean a lot when you've got super average track designs and some of the worst AI drivers and rubber banding in an arcade racing game to date. You might find you love it, and that's cool, but be wary. So there you have it, a bunch of Nintendo Switch arcade races to sink your teeth into. I really hope you've enjoyed the selection in this first installment. Have you played any of these before? Let me know your thoughts on them in the comments, and if you've got suggestions for a future video, drop them in there too. This video is possible in part thanks to my amazing ARC supporters. An extra special shout out goes out to No More Mercy and new ARC super supporter Laro Malode. Seeing you pop up here really made my week, so thank you. And I appreciate you. Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing, and getting in on those notifications. It really does help me bring you as much ARC content as I can. Please consider becoming an ARC supporter channel member yourself. Perks for supporters you'll find in the description of this video. Seriously, thanks for watching, and I'll see all of you beautiful people in the next one.